It's the season of defections and carpet crossing, rather, in the Nigerian political space, a phenomenon that characterizes every election period. This time, it's the ruling All Progressives Congress that is feeling the heat. A chunk of senators, members of the House of Representatives, and some governors recently dumped the party for other opposition parties, mainly the People's Democratic Party. Just about 5 months to the 2019 general election, politicians are strategizing to place themselves in vantage positions for victory. But the question is, in whose interests are these moves being made? Good afternoon and welcome to another episode of Standpoint. I am Veronica Danik-Boy. Daily, the media is awash with stories of defections, and that will form the fulcrum of our discussion on the show. I have in the studio the national spokesperson of the Coalition of United Political Parties, that's COP, Comrade Mark Adebayo. Also in the studio is a politician and a member of the APC, Obafemi George. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
All right, now let's move straight to the discussion. It is common knowledge that politics is a game of numbers, yet in the wake of the defections of political heavyweights like Saraki, Tambuwal and Kwankwaso, the APC is saying it is unbothered and that it won't affect their chances, especially at the presidential poll. Is this braggadocious talk, or should the APC really be worried? Before I go on to that question, let me start with you, Obafemi. You're a member of the APC. Any plans of defecting?
I'm not going anywhere.
Why? Why are you not going anywhere?
I was a member of AD. I was a member of ACN. And that's the core progressive of APC. So I've always been a progressive, so there's nowhere else to go for me.
There's nowhere else to go for you.
Absolutely not.
The wake of the fact that there are persons who are also have been members of all of these parties and now decided to, shift grounds. I mean, they must have reasons for doing that.
Well, they do have reasons why they did that. I believe that I'm a new generation politician. I'm not part of the old school that believes that you must jump ship when suddenly the house is hot and your interest is not being taken care of. And if we don't start with us, who is going to start, really? So for me, my personal value system, this is what I believe in for now. This is where I'm staying.
All right, I come to you now, comrade. You are a member of COA party. It still stands as COA, even though you're part of the coalition, right?
Well, yeah, COA remains COA. Everything about us remains us. The same way for every other political party on the coalition. There's a difference between an alliance and a merger. This is a coalition. This is an alliance of political parties. You keep your identity, you keep your constitution, you keep your manifesto. So everything about each of the political parties remains what it is. So now this is a coalition of equals. All the political parties, there's no senior partner, there's no junior partner. All the parties have come together to form a coalition. So
why did you decide to form a coalition?
It's a shadow of necessity, of urgent necessity.
How do you mean?
The need to rescue this country from bad governance and injustice. The need to put to the fore the agitations of the people against injustice in this country. One element of that is restructuring, which is extremely important to us now. The way the country is now, the way the wave of insecurity, the bad governance, the misrule and everything. So in order to give everybody a sense of belonging in this country has to be restructured so that it will not rupture. So that is one major agenda on the focus of this coalition of united political parties in Nigeria.
So that the nation is central to the decision being made for this coalition that was formed. That
is the most important. The nation, the people, Nigerians. This is for the interest of the country, or the interest of the nation, for the survival of the country, so that we will not, fall into total state failure.
Okay,
we need to do something about it.
Let's bring it back home now. We're talking about defections and. Well, look at the APC. I'll come to you now. Obafemi has said that it is not going to lose sleep about the persons who have shifted grounds and moved to other parties. What do you make of this statement? Are you of the same view?
You know, if you look at our country historically, this is not breaking news. Right from inception, from the very first elections that were held in 1951, politicians have been decamping, they've been cross-carpeting. Election was held in September 1951. By 1952, when they went to the House, people have already decamped. Same thing in 1959. In 1964, there were coalitions. So this is not new to us, and we shouldn't blow this out of proportion as if, you know what, it has never happened before within our political space.
It's not about blowing it out of proportion, but then you're saying that we know what went on in 2015 or 2014. This same thing happened, and we saw the results. Yes. So that is the same thing we are saying. Are you going to lose sleep over this or not?
The mistake people are making, or the mistake they are making, is that they're comparing onions with apple.
Really?
Oh, yes. And I can tell you that categorically.
What do you mean, onions, apple?
I'm not going to tell you our strategy. I'm not going to tell you our strategy on air. But the mistake they are making is that they are assuming that in 2015, because they were decamping, they were cross-carpeting, and it shifted and tilted the results of the election, that the same thing is going to happen in 2019 once some people cross over and some people move over to the other side. I can tell people that they will be disappointed. Those who are expecting that will be disappointed. You cannot compare the candidacy of President Goodluck Jonathan with President Muhammadu Buhari. They are miles apart. So the arithmetic, their conjecture is wrong. And we're going to see that in 2019.
But there were people that, you know, came up as structures that led to this, he's coming as the president. Do you agree? So it's not just about the person of the president. There are other elements that has to be considered. I
agree with you. But you see, as it stands today, some key people are still within the party.
Right.
Okay, those that have left.
There. I need to come to the comrade now. Is it something, do you share the same view? Do you think that the opposition has to be worried about this move? Like he said, the issues of defecting has been part of our polity. It's not just now.
Definitely, yeah. It has an historical background to it, like he has said. But the thing is that presently, the current coalition is driven by passion of patriotism, by passion to a sense of urgency to rescue this country. So it is for the ruling party to lose sleep when you see people gathering like that. But having said that, it is the political and fundamental right of anybody
to shift ground.
You can shift ground depending on the situation, that's how you feel yourself. And the Constitution is very clear about that. If there is a fractionalization of your party, yeah, you can move. Whether you are in elective office or not, you can move from one party to another. So it is within their right, it is within the purview of their constitutional right to be able to move as they are moving. So the aim of that can only be determined by the person who is decamping. You understand? So that is that. But where you see, like you did say, in 2014, when there was need also for people to come together, they came together, formed the APC, and then, of course, the result was more or less a fait accompli, and that's what gave us this present situation. Now, the situation that gave birth to the coming together of those people has now exacerbated, which informed the fact that political parties now also have to come back, political players have to come together, Nigerians have to be united to be able to, look for a new direction for the country. I want to try and avoid the word change because that has been poisoned, it has been bastardized. So this coalition is looking for a redirection of the country from the current progressive deterioration towards the precipice. That is why this coalition has come to be. As for defections, that is the personal decision of individuals. Right. As for coalition, it is a collective decision of the political parties and political players that are involved in this coalition.
Okay, now we quickly will take a break and return to continue the discussion because we need to bring in our third guest. Do stay with us. All right, you see, watching Standpoint, and joining us now is Matthias Sadu, a presidential aspirant come 2019. Thanks for joining us. You are part of a group called PACT, and you were trying to tell me what it meant. Maybe you could enlighten us on that.
Okay, thank you very much, and apologies for coming late.
Not a problem.
I had traffic. I'm not used to Lagos that much. Yeah, PACT is a group of young aspirants, presidential aspirants, who think that they've had enough of it in Nigeria. We've had a lot of failed promises from the political establishment, and young people who have indicated interest to run for the office of president. Since we started seeing this, the disintegration that is happening in the political space in Nigeria. So we came together rather than forming into coalitions or whatever you have that it's been presented to Nigerian people. We thought that it was necessary for us to be able to galvanize the Nigerian people to come together and lead what we call a mass revolution. Because if you look at what is happening in the country at the moment, it is calling for salvation. And the people that put us in this problem cannot be the same people that can solve this problem. They do not have the capacity to take this nation anywhere. They do not have the understanding. They are not even interested. So we, as a group, I saw Professor Kingsley Moghalu, Fela Durotoye, Showore, Ekubesi, a whole lot of people who, out of anger, felt this cannot continue. And we discovered that our energies will be wasted if we do not come together. And we decided to pull ourselves together and say, look, let us be united against all of this. Let us have
So are you having a single presidential candidate now?
Absolutely. That's what we're working towards. Okay. We are working towards having a presidential aspirant that represent the aspirations of the Nigerian youth, the aspirations of this grown-to Nigerian people. We are presenting a candidate that will be acceptable by the Nigerian people, not between COP, APC, or what have you, but a people-centered kind of leadership. Yeah,
with what is going on, you're certain that that candidate of yours can pull a surprise in 2019? It's
not about, you see, I always say that the issues of Nigeria, we keep focusing about who will win elections in Nigeria. Basically, that was what we did in 2015. We wanted who will win against then President
But someone has to win.
Just allow me, please. Now, this has been the focus, all right? And we get people who win. At the end of the day, we go nowhere. We can't back 2023, and then we are looking for who is going to win against this person again. We should begin to look at who can lead this nation, and that's what we're presenting to Nigerian people. Now, however this will happen, however this is going to be achieved, we'll leave it to the Nigerian people to decide. If we present an option to them and say, you know what, these guys have the capacity to lead this nation to greatness. Make your choice. Do you want to stay with the old system, or you want to try these guys? If you want to try these guys, fine, we're available. But we cannot continue to say things are bad and nobody comes out. Today, we are not going to be left between the devil and the deep blue sea. We're going to have options that Nigerians can choose from, and that's what we're trying to present to the people. Enough of we being stuck to with the idea of and this person has this number of votes in some lockdown in some states.
These are the elements that come about. What leads to a candidate emerging as
the dynamics will dynamics would be worked out. The dynamics will be worked out, and at the end of the day, we will present it whichever way. Let our focus just be on having that person who we think can lead, and let's leave it to the Nigerian people to choose if they decide to stay with the old system or they try something new.
All right, now let's come back to the issue of defections. What are the chances? Because some political watchers are saying that this cross-carpet movement could weaken or strengthen our democracy. I'll come to you, Comrade.
Well, there are two ways to it. You are right. It could strengthen it or it could weaken it. But it depends. It depends on the management, the leadership management of the coalition. It's not about who is coming or who is not coming. Now, templates will be set. They are being set so that because we want to avoid the situation of a winner takes all, or some big guy, some big money bag comes from anywhere to now dictate the trend of things. And that is why we are partners on equal footing on this coalition. What I do know is that in every...
When you say equal footing, do you mean that all interests are going to be, met, so to speak?
This is a coalition of equal partners, where everybody, every political party has a say. If somebody like me from Kowa Party, I mean the relatively new generation political party, could emerge as spokesperson for this coalition, it tells you how balanced the templates are as to the level to which you can aspire within this coalition. So that people are coming. I mean, there will be advantages and disadvantages. That is why, this coalition is going to have one presidential candidate that will lead the other parties. Like I did tell you earlier, Kowa Party will maintain its identity, its ideology, its principles, and everything. So we are going, September 8th, we are going to do our presidential primary. So we are going to have our own presidential candidate as Kowa Party. So then other presidential candidates of other political parties who are coalition members of this party will also emerge, and then there will be a committee comprised of all members of the political parties that are coalition. And this committee will now screen them. Kowa Party will have a representation, PPA will have a representation, C4C will have representation, everybody, equal number of people. In fact, the political party that people are saying is dominating this coalition, the PDP, it doesn't even have an executive position in this coalition, the standing committee. They don't have. So what we want to do is to ensure that all the political parties are given equal opportunities. So like the pacts are doing now, almost the same thing. Like the screening committee would now give a report back to the House. So it's like you are doing a kind of a collegiate system whereby whoever comes, there are templates that are being set that if you, there will be marks that will be awarded. And everybody will be given a fair opportunity to present to Nigerians, to the committee, what they are going to do. And whoever emerges winner in that screening will now bear the flags, presidential flag of all the political parties come 2019. At the state level, things are being worked out that all the political parties at state levels can now work out their own modalities. Okay, I support you for Senate, you support Kowa Party for House of Representatives, we support you C4C or PPA for governor in this place, you support also House of Assembly. So that is the alliance. That is just...
All right, Obafemi, now, what's your take on this saying that it could either weaken our democracy or strengthen it?
Like I said earlier when we were starting, that, it's been an ongoing thing, right from the inception of our democracy, for politicians to decamp, for political parties to form a coalition. So like I said, and I want to repeat that, it is not new. But I told you that you just wait, let's have another 3 months and have this conversation. And I can guarantee you on national TV that some that went there are going back to where they came from. And I'll tell you why. For one simple reason. This is power grabbing, okay? And you see, we cannot claim that the coalition is made up of equal partners. These fingers are not equal. By the time you're going to electioneering, if party A is bringing 9 naira and you are bringing 1 naira, you are not the same stakeholders. There's a bigger player in the system. And I'll tell you why I think they'll begin to disintegrate. It is when they decide to pick presidential candidates.
Smiling.
Because not just money. It will be difficult for them to decide on who's going to be presidential flag bearer, because you see, our politics, it's a winner takes all politics, where you can't have 2 presidents, you can't share it. And the man that controls that takes everything. That is what is going to be the undoing. Like I said, let's have the conversation 3 months down the line. And I told you that they are making a mistake comparing this to 2015. In 2015, there was one candidate. There was one President Muhammadu Buhari. So the coalition was meant to get this candidate into power. So it was easier to rally around it. It was easier for CPC to merge with ACN, to merge NPP. And mind you, that
if
merger
you could just
started...
quickly hold the thought. We
Okay.
have Akim on the line calling from Abuja. Akim, go ahead with your contribution.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
My name is Akim. I'm from Abuja.
All right, go ahead.
The people of this country is beyond, most of people, they are selfish. and the particular demand for Kowa Party. One of the SDP chairman, that is former presidential aspirant, according to the information, they say the man collects 100 million out of the ammunition money, and then the same people, they want to coalition and go back to Nigeria. The same people, where they don't work to anybody, they give you 100 million, and then you collected it. It didn't ask from where. And then part of the people are working for Nigeria. And then all the most of the people who they are complaining, it's easy to talk, but to this year, we know what it's easy to condemn anybody. These people for 16 years, if they are doing well, it can never be where we are today. They didn't do well, that's how we are. That's why we do what we are today. So it's easy to condemn. But when we do that, that is beyond what we are doing.
All right, thank you, Akim, for your contribution. All right, go ahead, Obafemi.
So, bottom line, okay, like I said, let's wait 3 months down the line. This is not a merger of equal partners. And you see, I keep saying it. We started 2011. It took us 4 years to achieve what we achieved in 2015. You can't wake up 6 months down the line and you want to create a coalition and you want to win election when it's just 195 days to presidential election. It is not done like that. You run a 100-meter dash. The guy took off and is already at 60 meters, and you're taking off at 10 meters. Except you want to drive a Ferrari that you can catch up with him. It's not going to work like that. It doesn't happen like that.
Matthias, I don't want to maybe counter your thoughts.
Absolutely disagree with George, because look, we saw just the day before yesterday that Nelson Chimansa almost toppled the elections in Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
A young boy that was, 3 months ago was nowhere in the media. And suddenly everywhere, look, the world is moving so quickly that we cannot be stuck to what we used to know. We know that politics in Nigeria has always been about money, but that is changing. We are changing that narrative. Shore, Kingsley, Feladrotoe, every other person is on the street shouting that, look, we had enough of this. And that should be the focus. Because really, you see, the conversations around leadership in Nigeria has become something that we as a people, we pity ourselves when we are presented with options and people to vote for. So at the moment, this revolution that is about to start, it might not be something that would need more than 2 weeks for us to ensure that everybody that wants to stand against this in Nigeria will crush it. Because Nigerians have been victims of this for so long. There's so much hunger on the street of Nigeria. There's so much anger on the faces of the people. Politicians come and speak nice words on television and tell people and promise people all manner of things. At the end of the day, the people are left shortchanged. At the end of the day, when are we going to have the people's discussion on the table? And that's what this is about. We are in the era of social media. We are reaching out to millions of people on the pages of social media every day. So let's not deceive ourselves about whether the personality of the people that are involved in political place in Nigeria have anything to say. What does that offer Nigerian people? What does that offer those 18 million young people that are on the street of Nigeria without a job? So the number of people, young people alone, that are jobless in Nigeria are enough to give us a presidential, deliver a presidential candidate in 2019. So let us not be stuck with ideas. We will cause this revolution to take place in Nigeria, and it will happen in 2019. We shall be installing a president in Nigeria that is less than 50 years. All
right, now I come back to you now, comrade. As important as this defections are, and how as long as it has seemed to be with us, what then is the fate of party politics in Nigeria?
Well, actually, party politics, we cannot narrow down to party politics for too long. There has to be a time, as this is part of the COP's agenda. There has to be a time that there has to be independent candidature. The independent candidacy has to be encouraged, has to be put into the constitution so that people can, But I think it would now make political parties go back to the drawing board. You understand? In the drafting of the constitution and the ideological foresight of each political party. So, which would, this movement, this this fluid mobility within our political space is good for one reason. That is the fact that I cannot be tied down into a place that I'm no longer comfortable. I can move. And if you look at go and read the constitutions of most of the political parties. Go and read the constitutions. When people say, oh, this party does not have the same ideology with this one, you go and read and see that it is about who is adhering to those ideological points. It's not that this party does not have ideology or the other does not have ideology.
Okay, so it's not as if they do not have ideologies, they are not just
It is about implementing those ideologies when you get to power. And that is
why they can easily move.
Well, you see, if you move from one party to another party, you are likely going to find almost the same words as the constitution of the other in the other party. But how is your political behavior? How is your political attitude? How do you interpret your manifesto, your ideology into addressing the critical issues of nation building, of progress, of the people, the issue of justice, the issue of unity, the issue of humanity, because if you are going to governance and politics without the idea of humanity, the whole essence of it, of governance, of organizing society, of socio-political contestations, is about humanity. If you lack that sense of humanity, you are not fit to be a leader in any space of any human endeavor. And that is why you cannot sit down. If you sit back. Now, let me tell you something. There are issues, there are criticisms about, oh, you are going to the same bed with people who have done this, who have that. Well, in 1999, I was one of the pro-democracy activists. I've been a human rights activist for as long as I was in school. Now, suddenly, Gani Fayemi was leading us, Beko was leading us, Professor Jolinka was leading us, wonderful people. But immediately elections were coming. They said, oh, no, we are good people, we are too good, we cannot go into politics. And they left it, that's why we are here we are today. So now, if we didn't go into this, secluding ourselves, thinking that we are holier than thou, if you are holier than politics, you have no moral right to say you want to go into governance. Now, if now you now say, oh, these people are this, these people are that, I cannot go with them. Where do you want to go? For you to be able to upscale, to be able to upstage the status quo, you need structures. You need people. You need structures across the country. You understand? So we have to come together. That is why some of us will have to be within this coalition to ensure that we redirect the narrative. So from the established order into the Nigerian dream.
All right, we need to quickly go on this short break. The discussion continues when we return. Stay with us. Yes, you're watching Standpoint. Some persons are calling for defectors to lose their seats, even though they satisfied Section 68 of the 1999 Constitution as amended, which validates defections hinged on the factionalization of the political party on whose platform elected persons secured their seats. They want government to revisit the resolutions of the 2014 Confab, which says that Section 68G of the Constitution be further amended to indicate that any elected official who defects, regardless of the reasons, should automatically forfeit their seats. What are your thoughts, Obafemi?
That's a very good one. I must be very honest with you. And I think that if we get that done, it will shape on our political system. In other words, you will decide before you go in with your eyes wide open whether these are the people you want to go with. Because knowing fully well that if you decamp, you lose your seat. The reason why people can gallivant between one party and the other at the slightest opportunity is because they hide under the Constitution and say, oh, because the House is simply, my party is divided, then I could leave. And you see, at the end of the day, I tell people, when we do this, politicians don't lose elections. It's the people.
That's right.
They don't lose elections. Because when they lose, they simply go somewhere else where the grass is greener and they know how to blend. Either they go frontally or they go through the back door. It's the people that are always at the receiving end. So for us, I think time has come where we need to revisit that particular part of the Constitution that will make it impossible for people to decamp. And you will know that once you decamp, you're out of that seat.
You think it will be easy for us to make such amendments to the Constitution?
Veronica, you know, I said it on this program about 3 weeks ago, that it is high time that the people themselves will get up and take ownership of this country. We are living under this cultural blindfolding that makes us see leaders as demigods. Okay? We can force that constitution to be changed. The people as of they're not going to do that because it favors them. So if we are waiting for them,
the amendment.
The people. We can force their hands to do that. The people can take ownership and force their hands to get that done, because until we do things like that, guess what? This is going to keep reoccurring election year by election year. Like I told you when we were starting, this has been going on since 1951.
Of course.
It's true. And every election year, you see this happening. 1951, 1959, 1964, 1979, 2015. And you see that the same people just migrate and they keep benefiting from the system. And the man on the street is left empty-handed. I strongly believe I belong to that school of thought that says that those fundamental things need to be changed to make us a stronger nation, so that, guess what, we can bequeath a better society
and
to the
calls
younger
have been
generation.
on now that some persons should vacate their seats, like the Senate President. Do you share the same view, Matthias, that he should, vacate the seat, saying that the party on which he was elected, even though the Constitution spells it out how a Senate President emerges, but then there are calls for him to, vacate his seat?
Yeah, well, the simple answer is this. This thing happened in 2015 in favor of those people who are asking for the opposite question, asking the opposite question today. When Tamboa defected to APC, he was from PDP, and when the PDP people were asking that he should vacate his seat, APC said, no, this cannot happen. So the same thing is happening now. Why are we wasting our time? Really, these guys do not have the interest of the Nigerian people at heart. What you see in Nigeria is more politics, zero governance. So it's not about, they're not doing all of this in favor of anybody in the street of Nigeria. They are all concerned about how power sharing, more like what is happening in Sudan, power sharing deals. That's the unfortunate situation of Nigeria. And you see, look, we've mentioned this. These two gentlemen have said something about the fact that nothing gets to the grassroots, nothing gets to the man on the street. So these guys are busy fighting themselves. Do you think they are fighting in favor of all of us? No, they're not. So really, I don't want to bother myself about whether they ask him to leave the office, leave the seat or not. What I'm bothered about is the fact that Nigerian people should wake up and take their nation back, and not take it back like maybe like we'll be in favor of George, as somebody from APC who thinks that if Nigerian people who revolted in 2015 and brought President Buhari will still be the same people who are going to allow President Buhari to continue in 2019, despite the huge failures that we have seen in government. No.
All right, we have a caller on the line, Abayomi on the line, calling from Abuja. Abayomi, go ahead with your contribution.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My own contribution about the deflect to the other party, from one party to another. I know, for my own opinion, I don't like it. Because it's a political, as an ideology, person should be in one party. And I want government to do the changes that will not allow people to be moving from another party to another. They must have constitution that will back it up. I listen to me, because that is what I want Nigerian people, our government, our judiciary, to find something about that situation, to make sure that thing must stop in Nigeria. And secondly, for what the man that will hear suit, I'm very sorry, I don't know his name, the man said something that was very, 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 very important. All of us will take note about that. That concern about Nigeria are fed up about this government now and presently. I stay in Abuja, I know what people are saying in Woman Rights Radio every day by day concerning this government. The man that APC member there, he don't know what is going on. We are the people, it's a massive that know what is going on in Nigeria. People are losing jobs every day by day.
Right.
And you people are saying, you still want this President Muhammadu Buhari, the respect coming.
All right. Well, actually, thank you for your contributions, but we need to come back to the issues on the ground. I come to you now, comrade. Do you think that automatically people who move should lose their seats, or we need to come up with stringent constitutional laws that determines your movement, reasons for movement, because people, like he has mentioned, are not really, or Nigerians are somewhat worried about this cross-carpeting, the ease with which this cross-carpeting is happening.
I think I agree that we have to tinker with that constitutional provision. But my own is that we should make the Constitution say that the Constitution says, the current Constitution is saying that when people go to the polls, they vote for political parties. I think we have to change that to people voting for individuals. People voting for people. You know, because when the party does not go through screening after being registered. So it is an individual. The party does not go to school. The party cannot go and forge NYC certificate. It is individuals whose certificates and degrees are screened during the election. It is individuals' character. It is the individual character that comes into play when you get into government. It's not political party. So I think at the maturity level of our democracy, I think we should change it that people are voting for people. You know what? And that is why we have to encourage this independent candidacy. Because you see, you can find yourself in a political party with very attractive ideological elements, and then you get in there. The party is not going to misbehave or behave. It is the people who can. It is the leader, the administrators of the party who can behave or misbehave. So we should, amend that constitution to read that when people go to the polls, they are voting for individuals and not for political parties. You see, if you are voting for me, whatever party I may be, so if I move even every day, I mean, it doesn't have any constitutional implication on me. But of course, the people will know the kind of person that you are. The people can now determine, So in your community, that is why we have to encourage grassroots democracy, grassroots politics. And that is why power devolution is very, very important. We have to strengthen the local government system. We shouldn't have a situation whereby the federal government, the one almighty federal government, will be dictating to the state, and the state will be dictating to the local government, the local government will be dictating to the world. The local government is closest to the people. We have to strengthen the local government. We have to strengthen the local government. We don't have to have a situation whereby, because you have a common purse, the state governor will dictate how much to take from the local government, and the federal government, like it happened during your Obasanjo, because you had a disagreement with a particular, with Lagos State, you now decided against the provision of the Constitution to sit on. So that one it will not go well for us. So I believe very strongly that we have to look at it as people voting for people. It is also not very good for democracy when people get, dissatisfied in a political party, and that they will not be able to move to another political party. I don't think it's okay. We should unbundle that situation and allow people to go and vote for people so that you can know. And there are people that I know today that if there was a provision for independent candidacy in our constitution, who would never go to any political party. Okay, look at Donald Trump. Tried it, I think, about 7 or so years ago, to go it alone. But he couldn't do it, so he had to come back to the Republicans to be able to come to power. So we just have to ensure that we allow people to vote for individuals and not strictly political parties.
How would that work, voting for individuals, Obafemi? How do you see that working? Do you think that with the way our political or our democracy in Nigeria is structured, voting for people?
I think, you see, there's a wide difference between an utopian ideology and a practical perspective to politics. When you get on ground and you really engage either in the governorship election or presidential, you will suddenly realize the benefit of running within a party structure. Look at Nigeria, for instance. I'm not against independent candidacy. I'm for independent candidacy because I was a victim of that when I ran for local government chairmanship in Lagos. And people said, oh, if you're an independent candidate, you could have won. But I couldn't do anything because I was within the party system. But now, if you look at Nigeria, for instance, you want to win a presidential election. There are 6 geopolitical zones, okay? People might think that, oh, we can use the social media and re-engineer things. How many people are on Facebook in Nigeria? Less than 20 million people are on Facebook. Out of those 20 million, more than half of them are in Southwest, Lagos and some key states. Okay, you're looking at a place like Kano, a place like Sokoto in Katsina. You want to go to Yobe and Bauchi. Those guys are not on Facebook. For you to reach them, you have to be on ground. And for you to win a presidential election, you must win 4 out of those 6 zones. Those are practical ideas of winning an election. That reality will dawn on you when you get on ground. I suddenly realized that, oh, for now, we still need the political structure to win presidential election. Maybe in future, when people are enlightened, when the educational system is well developed, then we can begin to re-engineer such a thing. But as it is today, right now, you still need political structure to be able to, maybe a local government, maybe even a governorship, but for a presidential election, you need a political structure. Without that, you cannot win an election in this country. That's my opinion.
It seems Matthias wants to react to that. Because
well, you know, the way it is, we know that if people have been clamoring for individual candidacy, but yes, we need networks. We need to be able to connect with people across the country to run for elections. However, when politicians tell you party structure, you know what it means. It means you have money. Basically, that's what I have seen it to be. When they tell you that what structures you have, you need to be able to have offices across the country and all of that. Now we're running virtual offices. It's possible for you to run virtual offices. It's possible for you to have a group of people coming to people's houses and they're having meeting about what they want. It's possible for you to start a movement on the streets of Kano as it is, no matter how you think they are uneducated. A lot of people that are residents in Bauchi, in Maiduguri, but a lot of them are on social media. And then see, we have, like I said before, we are stuck with the idea of things cannot change. And because we think this cannot change, nobody ever tried to attempt to change them. This is the first step.
How easy has it been trying to attempt
we've made tremendous progress. The fact that I'm sitting here today to speak about the fact that we have young Nigerians running for elections, it's success on its own. Because, see, previously, people could start running for campaigns. You could start doing campaigns, and then in your small corner, no one sees you. But today, just one person declared and said, I want to run for office of whatever you want to run for, and put it on social media. A lot of people say, oh yeah, fine, I have this person here, I have this person here. Now, these are the things that are going to gradually transform the political space. Because now the conversations are going to be about competence, about how you are going to be able to solve the problems that we have in the country. We've talked about all of these things before, but when we see at the end of the day, we look at the fact that, okay, this man has this popularity here, this one has this here, so for that reason, we will go in that direction. But if we can appeal to majority of 10 million people that George agreed that is Obafemi, right? Agree that are on social media, that's a good start. That's a good start. If you can decide to vote for competence instead of voting for who you think can win, that's a good start. If he or all those other people could do the same thing. So basically, I think we are transforming the political space. The fact that there are over 50 young people running for the office of the President of Nigeria today is something that is huge, and it's something that is going to bring about the kind of political revolution that is needed in Nigeria. It might not necessarily go the route of one political party. We could bring political parties together, but first of all, we want to bring the players together. Let the players be the one that we will look at and say, these are the decisions that need to be taken in favor of this person and that. So all right. We're there. We're getting there.
We have Abdul Malik on the line, calling from Niger State. Go ahead with your contribution.
Thank you very much for the discussion. The issue of defection is based on their own selfish interest.
Absolutely.
That is my own opinion. Let me give an example of Electoral, the ambassador of South Africa and effectivity. I don't think down in Niger State that can win even a war in Niger State. That man cannot even begin to bring of pulling crowd for PDP president, any president. This man has been in power from 1999, from protocol officer to house, the deputy governor. He has nothing to present. This is what he has produced or government job. This person that doesn't have the interest of the people. So if you're defecting to PDP, has nothing, it would never have on APC.
All right, Abdul Malik, I'll have to cut off the discussion now because we're running out of time. We need to quickly move on so we can wrap up the show as soon as possible. Now, I'll come back to the defections. The impact of the 2019 elections are just a few months away, and with these defections, how much impact do you see it having on the outcome of the polls, Comrade?
Well, I mean, the defections, now Nigerians will have to force Nigerians to begin to have a rethink because, you know, maybe people are already thinking one direction and now you have to be thinking on how to really, you know, reposition your political choices come 2019. Definitely, the outcome would be positive in some aspect. It also be negative in some aspect. Positive to people who are going to win, negative to those who are going to lose. But we have a situation on our hands. We have a situation on our hands that needs immediate critical attention. We need to attend to the current situation that we have by way of redirecting the trajectory of the country towards progress, towards peace, towards security. You cannot have a situation whereby people are being killed on a daily basis. Zamfara is under siege, Benue is under siege, Plateau is under siege. So people have to find a way to change the situation from what it is now, because this government has shown total incapacity to ensure security of life and property in Nigeria, and we have to do something about it. And that's why COP has come into.
Quickly, do you think that this defections will have an impact on voter confidence with regards to the 2019 elections?
Like I said, I think it's a good thing that people are decamping. At the end of the day, it's going to make our democracy much, much stronger. We are still evolving, 16 years and still counting. It's good for the country. Now, the impact on the general elections. Yes, there will be an impact on general elections, no doubt about that. Okay, but I can tell you confidently that we're still doing our homework. We're looking at the figures, we're looking at the numbers. Those that have left, we're looking at what they are taking away, and we're looking at what we are gaining. And like I told you earlier on, I'm not going to stay on here and tell you our strategy for 2019.
Really?
But we're carefully looking at the way things are shaping out. And we'll come back again and talk 2019 after elections.
Matthias.
The collapse of the establishment is what is happening. The disintegration of those who have held Nigeria captive for years, it's collapsing. The real, true leaders that want to offer people leadership, inspirational leadership, leadership that is able to touch everybody to the grassroots, the leadership that will give birth to a new Nigeria is what is about to emerge. Because this falling apart is what will give birth to the rising new generation of leaders. We, the new ones, are the ones that are threatening all of them, that they are all running about looking for where to hide. But we will take back our country. We've had enough of it, and we're saying enough is enough. The Nigerian people will take back their nation in 2019. It will be about the Nigerian people.
All right, we'll see how everything pans out come 2019. But I must thank you, gentlemen, for your contributions to the discussion on the show today. Well, that's our package on today's edition of Standpoint. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, you can watch a repeat of this edition tomorrow by 7 a.m. I'm Veronica Danik-Boy. Enjoy your weekend.